Ethan adjusted the controls of his small exploration ship as it descended through the violet clouds of Zerathia. The planet stretched beneath him like a living painting, full of strange forests, glowing rivers, and mountains that shimmered in colors he had never seen before. His heart beat faster with excitement. Humans had only just begun exploring this part of the galaxy, and here he was, about to step on a world that few had seen. As the ship touched down on a soft, moss-like surface, Ethan unbuckled his harness and carefully opened the cockpit door. A warm, sweet scent filled the air, something like blooming flowers mixed with rain. He stepped out, letting his boots sink slightly into the soft ground. The light of Zerathia's twin suns made the colors around him even more vibrant. Strange. Birds with transparent wings flitted through the trees, and gentle streams ran over rocks that sparkled as if sprinkled with tiny stars. Ethan took a deep breath and felt a sense of awe he rarely experienced. "This is incredible," he whispered to himself. "I hope no one disturbs this place. It's perfect." He set up a small device to record atmospheric readings and began scanning the area. As he worked, he noticed movement in the distance, a figure moving gracefully among the glowing ferns. At first, he thought it was another alien animal, but as it came closer, he realized it was humanoid. Her skin had a faint shimmer, and her hair glowed softly under the sunlight. Her eyes were a bright, unusual shade of silver, and they fixed on him with curiosity. Ethan froze, unsure of what to do. He had trained for encounters with alien life, but nothing could have prepared him for this. The alien woman walked slowly toward him, her steps careful, as if she was testing whether he was dangerous. Ethan raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "Hello," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. "I'm Ethan. I come in peace." The woman tilted her head, observing him silently. She made no sound at first, just studied him with her shimmering eyes. Then, in a soft, musical voice, she spoke. "You are not like the others," she said. "You do not carry the fear or the greed I have seen in visitors before." Ethan blinked, surprised. I mean, I'm just here to explore. I don't want to hurt anyone." The alien woman's expression softened. "I am Lyra. This world is my home. Few outsiders arrive and fewer remain without trouble." Ethan nodded. "I understand. I will respect your land." He felt a strange sense of relief. For some reason, her words, her presence, made him feel safer than he had in years of exploring dangerous planets. As they spoke, the ground trembled beneath their feet. Ethan looked around, alarmed, as a nearby ridge began to crack. A minor quake, or something else? Lyra's eyes widened. "The storms of Zerathia can be unpredictable," she said, grabbing his arm and pulling him away just as a small fissure opened where he had been standing moments before. They ran together through the colorful forest, dodging falling rocks and strange, twisting vines that seemed almost alive. Despite the danger, Ethan couldn't help noticing Lyra's grace. She moved with fluid elegance, her confidence and skill evident in every step. And yet, there was concern in her eyes, not for herself, but for him. Finally, they reached a small cave where the trembling stopped. Ethan leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. Thank you," he said. "I'm not used to running from earthquakes, or whatever that was." Lyra smiled faintly. "It is rare for outsiders to survive the storms. You have courage and luck." Ethan chuckled, nervously. "Luck, I guess. Or maybe it's because you saved me." She shook her head. "It is not just luck. You are calm. You think clearly under pressure. That is rare among humans I have met." They sat in the cave for a moment, listening to the distant rumble of the shifting earth. Ethan studied Lyra. She was unlike any being he had ever seen. Her skin seemed almost luminous, her features delicate yet strong. And there was something in her eyes that drew him in, a mix of intelligence, curiosity, and warmth. "I've explored many planets," Ethan said slowly, "but I've never met anyone like you." Lyra tilted her head. "Nor have I met anyone like you. Humans are different from what I expected. I thought you would all be loud, reckless, self-centered. Yet here you are, calm, careful, thoughtful." Ethan felt a flush of pride. "I try my best. I guess." He paused, not knowing why he wanted to impress her. "I guess I like learning, and I like understanding things, not just taking them or controlling them." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "That is why you survived, and perhaps why we meet now." Ethan was confused but intrigued. "Why us meeting?" he asked. "You are not like the others," Lyra repeated softly. "Perhaps this meeting is meant to happen. Sometimes the universe brings beings together for reasons they do not yet understand." Ethan looked at her, unsure what to say. The storm had passed, leaving the forest calm and quiet, with the strange glowing plants swaying gently. For a moment, it felt like time itself had slowed. He realized that despite the danger, he didn't feel fear anymore. "Lyra, I know we've just met," he said carefully, "but I feel like I should learn more about you and your world." Lyra's eyes brightened with curiosity. "You wish to learn? Few outsiders do. Most come to take, not understand." Ethan nodded. "I want to understand. I want to be a part of it, if you'll let me." She studied him for a long moment. Then quietly, she said, "Perhaps we will see what the future holds. For now we must survive this place together." As the twin suns of Zarathia began to set, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold, Ethan and Lyra sat in silence, side by side. Though they were from different worlds, different species, and different cultures, they had found something rare: mutual respect and a sense of connection. Neither of them knew what the future would bring, but for the first time, Ethan felt that exploring the stars might be about more than discovery. It might be about understanding, trust, and perhaps even friendship, or something more. The night fell over Zarathia, and the forest glowed softly under the light of bioluminescent plants. Ethan and Lyra shared stories of their lives, their hopes, and their fears. They laughed at small misunderstandings, marveled at the strange beauty around them, and felt a bond forming that neither fully understood yet. And so, under the alien sky of a distant world, a human and an alien met for the first time. Two beings from very different worlds, drawn together by curiosity, courage, and something even deeper that neither could yet name. The next morning, Zarathia awoke with a gentle glow, its twin suns rising slowly over the horizon. Ethan stepped outside the small cave where he had spent the night, stretching his stiff muscles. The air was crisp and fragrant with the scent of alien flowers. Beside him, Lyra moved with the same grace he had noticed yesterday, her eyes reflecting the light as she surveyed the surroundings. "You should eat something," Lyra said, her voice soft and musical. She gestured to a cluster of strange, glowing fruits hanging from the trees. "They are safe for humans. They will give you energy for the day." Ethan took one of the fruits, noticing its vibrant color and sweet aroma. "Thank you. I've eaten many strange things in my travels, but this looks amazing." He bit into it, surprised at its juicy, refreshing taste. Wow, that's delicious. Lyra smiled faintly. You are willing to try new things. That is good. Many humans are afraid of what is different. They walked together through the forest, Lyra explaining the rules of her world. The plants here are alive in ways humans cannot imagine. Some move slowly, some react quickly, and some protect themselves if threatened. She pointed to a cluster of tall, thin plants that waved gently as they passed. Those are the whispering trees. They sense presence and communicate silently. Listen closely. Ethan leaned in, trying to hear the faint hum. It was subtle, almost like a soft wind singing through leaves. I can hear something. It's beautiful. Yes, Lyra said. Zarathia is alive. Everything has a purpose. Humans often take without understanding. You seem different. As they walked, Lyra told him about her people, the Zarathians. They were a peaceful race, valuing knowledge, empathy, and harmony with nature. We do not rush, she explained. We observe, we learn, and we act only when necessary. It keeps balance. Ethan listened intently, fascinated. It's very different from humans. We are fast, loud, sometimes careless. But we also care deeply, and we try to understand. Lyra studied him for a moment. Perhaps that is why you survived yesterday. Your mind does not panic. Your heart does not give in to fear. They reached a river that glowed faintly under the morning light. Its water moved slowly, and tiny fish-like creatures with silver scales darted beneath the surface. Lyra knelt and touched the water with her fingers. Ethan followed her lead. The water was cool, refreshing, and alive with energy he could feel even through the simple act of touching it. Humans would call this a miracle, Ethan said, amazed. It's like the river is conscious. In a way, it is, Lyra replied. Zarathia's life is connected. Every creature, plant, and element works together. To live here is to respect all of it. As the day passed, Lyra taught Ethan how to navigate the forests safely, how to recognize dangerous plants and animals, and how to communicate with the whispering trees. Ethan, in return, shared stories of Earth, of human inventions, and of exploration across the galaxy. Lyra listened with fascination, asking questions about spaceships, technology, and human culture. You humans are very creative, Lyra said, watching him sketch a simple map of the area. Your minds can imagine things we could never conceive, and yet, you are fragile. You must protect each other. Ethan smiled. We are. That's what makes us strong, too. We have to rely on one another. That's how we survive. In the afternoon, they reached a small clearing filled with glowing flowers that swayed gently, even without wind. Lyra stopped and looked at Ethan. Here, humans are welcome, but few come. This place is sacred. It shows respect for those who enter. Ethan felt honored. I will be careful. I want to understand, not harm. Lyra nodded. Good. Understanding is the first step to friendship, and friendship can lead to more. She did not explain more, but her eyes held a meaning that Ethan felt deep in his heart. Suddenly, a rustle in the nearby trees caught their attention. Small creatures, resembling foxes but covered in soft, translucent fur, peeked at them. Ethan crouched down, careful not to scare them. The creatures moved closer, curious, and Lyra laughed softly. They are called glimmers, she said. They are shy but gentle. If you move slowly, they will approach. Ethan extended a hand, and one of the creatures sniffed it before brushing, its fur against his fingers. He laughed quietly, amazed at the trust the tiny animal showed. This is incredible, he whispered. Everything here. It feels alive in a way I've never felt before. Lyra watched him, a faint smile on her face. You see more than most. That is why I find you interesting. Not many humans notice these details. As the sun began to lower, painting the sky in gold and violet, Lyra led Ethan to a high cliff that overlooked the forest. Below them, rivers wound through the glowing trees, and the twin suns reflected off the water like scattered diamonds. This view is called the Horizon of Lights, Lyra explained. It is where we come to think, to reflect, and to feel connected to all life. Ethan stood in awe, taking in the vast, beautiful landscape. It's breathtaking. I've seen many planets, but nothing compares to this. Lyra stood beside him quietly. And yet, you are still here. You have chosen to stay, to learn, to understand. That is rare. Ethan turned to her, feeling a warmth he could not explain. Lyra, I've only just met you, but I feel like there's so much more I can learn. From you. From this world. I want to understand it all. Lyra looked at him, her silver eyes shining with curiosity and something deeper, something she had not felt with outsiders before. Then you will learn. But you must also remember, Zarathia is not just a place, it is a way of life. You must respect it, or it will not allow you to stay. Ethan nodded solemnly. I will. I promise. As night fell, the bioluminescent plants lit up the forest with a soft, magical glow. Ethan and Lyra sat by a small stream, talking late into the night. They shared their hopes, their dreams, and the wonders they had seen in their lives. Even though they came from very different worlds, they found common ground in curiosity, kindness, and the desire to protect what they loved. For the first time, Ethan realized that exploration was not just about discovering new places. It was about discovering new hearts, new friendships, and new ways to see the universe. And in Lyra, he had found something extraordinary, a being who could teach him, guide him, and perhaps change the way he understood life itself. As they watched the twin moons rise over the horizon, Ethan felt a quiet excitement. Tomorrow they would continue their journey deeper into the forests of Zarathia. He did not know what challenges awaited, but with Lyra by his side, he felt ready for anything. And Lyra, she too felt a stirring within her. Something about this human, his courage, his curiosity, and his kindness, was unlike anyone she had ever met. Perhaps the universe had brought them together for a reason she did not yet understand, but one thing was clear. Their story was only beginning. The sun rose over Zarathia, painting the forests with soft golden light. Ethan awoke to the sound of Lyra moving quietly outside their cave. The night had been peaceful, but he knew that today would bring something new, something that could change everything. Lyra appeared at the entrance, her silver eyes calm but filled with purpose. Ethan, she said, if you wish to stay on Zarathia, you must meet my people. My elders will decide if you are worthy of trust. Ethan nodded, feeling both nervous and excited. I understand. I want to do whatever it takes to learn and help. Lyra led him through the glowing forest. The trees whispered softly as they passed, and small creatures peeked curiously from the undergrowth. After a while, they arrived at a large clearing where Zarathians had gathered. They were tall, graceful beings with shimmering skin and eyes that reflected the colors of the forest. Their expressions were calm, but Ethan sensed their scrutiny. Lyra stepped forward. These are my elders, she said. They must see that Ethan is trustworthy and capable. One of the elders, an imposing figure with deep silver eyes, stepped forward. Human, he said in a measured tone. You wish to remain on Zarathia. You must prove that you understand our ways and that you are worthy of our trust. Only then can you walk freely among us, Ethan swallowed. I will do my best, I promise. The elder nodded. Then the trials begin. They will test your mind, your courage, and your heart. If you fail, you must leave our world. The first trial was a test of intellect. Lyra guided Ethan to a massive stone structure covered in strange markings. These are the patterns of knowledge, she explained. You must arrange them in the correct order to open the path forward. It is not simple, but I will guide you if you need it. Ethan studied the markings carefully. They seemed to shift slightly as he looked at them, almost as if they were alive. He traced lines with his fingers, trying different combinations, occasionally glancing at Lyra for advice. Her presence was calming, and she offered small hints, never giving him the answer outright. After several tense minutes, Ethan finally aligned the last marking. The stone structure hummed and opened to reveal a hidden passage. The elders nodded in approval. Ethan felt a rush of relief and pride. Thank you, he said softly to Lyra. The trial is not over, she reminded him. You must also show courage. The second trial led them to a deep chasm in the heart of the forest. Strange shadows moved along its walls, and the wind howled like a living creature. Ethan had to cross using a narrow, suspended bridge made of woven light strands. One misstep could mean a long fall into the darkness below. Ethan gripped the strands tightly, feeling them hum under his touch. With each careful step, he reminded himself to stay calm and focused. Halfway across, the bridge shook violently. Ethan froze for a moment, fear rising in his chest. Trust yourself, Lyra called from the other side. You can do this! He took a deep breath and step by step moved forward. With her encouragement and his determination, he reached the other side safely. The elders watched silently, their expressions unreadable, but Ethan sensed a glimmer of respect. Finally, the third trial tested his heart. Lyra led him to a grove where injured creatures lay, weak and frightened. These beings need help, she explained. Show compassion, and your true character will be revealed. Ethan knelt beside the first creature, a small, glowing animal, with delicate wings. He examined it carefully, speaking softly. It's okay, little one. I'll help you. He cleaned its wounds using natural herbs Lyra showed him, calming the animal with gentle words. Lyra watched, her eyes softening. You are different from others. You care not for recognition, only for doing what is right. Ethan spent hours tending to the injured creatures, refusing to stop even when exhaustion set in. By the time he finished, the grove was calm, and the animals had regained their strength. The elders approached, their faces now filled with approval. You have completed the trials, the elder said. You have shown intellect, courage, and a heart of compassion. These qualities are rare among humans, yet you possess them. Zarathia welcomes you, Ethan. Ethan felt a swell of gratitude. Thank you, he said. I will continue to honor your world and learn from it. Lyra smiled, her silver eyes bright. I knew you had the spirit to succeed. I am proud of you. The day ended with a quiet celebration among the Zarathians. Ethan was introduced to more of Lyra's people, who welcomed him cautiously but with growing respect. He shared stories of human life, technology, and exploration, and in return, the Zarathians told him of their history, philosophy, and their connection to the planet. Ethan noticed that despite their differences, there were many similarities. Both humans and Zarathians valued courage, wisdom, and kindness. Both sought understanding and harmony, though in different ways. And both could learn from each other, if they were willing. That night, under the twin moons of Zarathia, Ethan and Lyra sat together by a quiet stream. The water reflected the shimmering light of the moons, and the forest around them was alive with soft sounds. You have passed the trials, Lyra said softly. But there is something more. My people will watch your actions, your choices, and your heart, not just today but in the days to come. Trust is not earned in a moment. It grows, like the trees around us. Ethan nodded. I understand. I will do everything I can to honor that trust. Lyra looked at him thoughtfully. You have already changed the way I see humans. You are not like the rest. Perhaps there is hope for friendship between our worlds. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest, something he had never expected. I hope so too, Lyra. I hope this is just the beginning. As they watched the moons rise higher in the sky, Ethan realized that Zarathia was not only a place of beauty, but also a place of lessons. Lessons about courage, understanding, and the importance of the heart. And with Lyra by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges the planet and the universe might bring. The night was quiet, but the connection between human and alien grew stronger with each passing moment. They had met as strangers, faced trials together, and discovered respect and admiration. The journey ahead would not be easy, but for the first time, Ethan felt that he had found a place where he belonged, and a companion who could change the way he saw the universe forever. And in Lyra's heart, there was a stirring of hope. Perhaps this human could be more than a visitor. Perhaps he could be someone who could bridge the worlds, someone who could walk beside her in understanding, courage, and care. The stars above shone brightly, reflecting in the eyes of a human and an alien, two beings from different worlds standing at the beginning of a story that neither could yet imagine, but both would shape together. The forest of Zarathia was unusually quiet that morning. Ethan noticed it as he walked beside Lyra, carrying supplies for the day's journey. Even the wind seemed to pause, and the bioluminescent plants that usually glowed gently at dawn were dimmer than usual. Lyra's silver eyes scanned the horizon with alertness. Something is not right, she said quietly. The balance feels disturbed. Ethan frowned. Disturbed? How do you mean? Lyra gestured to the distant mountains. Other beings are coming. They do not belong here, and their intentions are not peaceful. Before Ethan could ask more, a loud roar echoed through the trees. Shadows moved swiftly among the trunks, and strange, armored creatures appeared at the edge of the clearing. They were larger than any being Ethan had ever seen, with sharp limbs and glowing eyes. It was clear they were aggressive and dangerous. Ethan instinctively reached for his tool belt, but Lyra held up a hand. "We do not fight like humans," she said. "We use strategy and understanding. Follow me and stay close." Lyra led him through narrow paths, hidden among the foliage, moving with incredible speed and precision. She pointed out traps she had set earlier, branches that could entangle enemies, vines that could block passage, and stones that could be rolled to create distractions. Ethan followed her instructions carefully, learning quickly that survival here required both caution and cleverness. As they approached a small cliff overlooking a river, Lyra turned to him. "We must lead them away from the forest. If they damage the balance here, many creatures will suffer. You will help me guide them." Ethan nodded. "I understand. Let's do this." Using rocks and carefully placed mirrors that reflected sunlight, they created illusions to confuse the intruders. Ethan was amazed at Lyra's intelligence and creativity. She combined her knowledge of the forest with his understanding of human ingenuity, and together they outsmarted the first wave of attackers. But the creatures were persistent. A second, larger group appeared, moving quickly through the trees. Ethan and Lyra had to split their attention, directing the intruders toward natural traps and hidden pits. Ethan's heart pounded with adrenaline, but he remembered the lessons Lyra had taught him. Stay calm, think clearly, and always protect the innocent. At one point, a creature lunged at Ethan from behind a tree. He barely dodged, and it crashed into a glowing bush that released a cloud of spores, temporarily blinding it. Lyra appeared beside him, her movements swift and precise. "Are you all right?" she asked. "Yes," Ethan said, catching his breath. "Thanks to you." "You are learning," she said with a small smile. "Your courage and quick thinking are improving." Together, they led the creatures toward a deep canyon, using clever paths and obstacles to guide them. Ethan realized that this was unlike any danger he had faced before. It was not only about strength, but about understanding, strategy, and working together. He trusted Lyra completely, and she trusted him in return. Finally, they reached a wide river that marked the edge of the canyon. Lyra whispered, "Here. We must act together. I will create a barrier of energy, but it will last only a few moments. You must use your human tools to drive them away." Ethan took a deep breath and focused. Using a small device from his belt, he projected a series of bright flashes and sound pulses, carefully timed with Lyra's barrier. The intruders, confused and overwhelmed, retreated back into the forest, unable to continue their attack. When the danger passed, Ethan sank to the ground, exhausted but exhilarated. "We did it," he said, barely able to believe it. Lyra stood beside him, her expression a mix of relief and admiration. "Yes, together we succeeded. Your bravery and intelligence made the difference." Ethan looked at her, feeling a deep sense of respect and admiration. "I couldn't have done it without you, Lyra. You're incredible." She shook her head gently. "No, we are incredible together. This is the lesson of Zarathia. Strength is not in one being alone, but in cooperation, understanding, and trust." As the sun began to set, casting golden light over the forest, they walked back to the small clearing where they had first met that morning. The animals and plants of the forest had returned to their usual rhythm, as if nothing had happened. But Ethan knew the balance had been preserved through courage, intelligence, and unity. That night, by a softly glowing stream, Ethan and Lyra shared their thoughts in quiet conversation. "I've never faced anything like today," Ethan said. "It was terrifying, but it also felt right. We protected something important together." Lyra nodded. "Yes, that is what it means to live in harmony with Zarathia, to care for others, to protect life, and to act with thought and courage. You have shown qualities that are rare, even among my people." Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of pride and purpose. "I want to learn more. I want to understand everything about this world and how to help." Lyra's eyes softened. "And you will. But remember, the greatest lessons are not in victory alone. They are in how we act when faced with uncertainty, fear, and responsibility. You have shown that you can act with heart, mind, and courage." Ethan thought about the intruders, the strategies, and the creatures they had saved. I understand what you mean. It's not just surviving. It's about making choices that protect life, even when it's hard." "Yes," Lyra said, her voice quiet but firm. "That is why I am drawn to you. Humans often rush, take, or destroy. But you think, you care, you act with purpose. It is rare, and it is why we must continue this journey together." The twin moons of Zarathia rose over the horizon, casting a gentle silver light on the forest. Ethan and Lyra sat together, watching the reflection in the calm river. Neither spoke for a while, feeling the quiet strength of the world around them. Finally, Ethan said, "Lyra, I know we come from very different worlds, but I feel connected to you, to Zarathia, to everything here. I want to protect this place, just like I want to protect the trust you've given me." Lyra's eyes shone with quiet emotion. "And I am grateful. You have proven that humans can be more than we thought. You have shown courage, intelligence, and kindness. And perhaps That is why the universe brought us together. Ethan looked at her, understanding something he could not yet put into words. There was a bond between them, forged not just by shared danger but by mutual respect, trust, and the desire to do what was right. As they sat together under the alien sky, Ethan felt a sense of peace. The day had tested them both, challenged them, and shown them the strength they could find in each other. He realized that whatever the future held, whatever dangers, discoveries, or adventures, they would face them side by side. And Lyra, too, felt the stirring of something new. She had seen many outsiders, but none like Ethan. His courage, his curiosity, and his heart were different. Perhaps he was not just a visitor, but someone who could walk with her, understand her world, and share a journey that could change both of their lives forever. The forest settled into a calm night, filled with soft, glowing lights and gentle sounds. A human and an alien sat together side by side, feeling that they had faced something greater than themselves and had emerged stronger, not just in body or mind, but in trust, understanding, and connection. And somewhere in the stars above Zarathia, the universe seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging that courage, wisdom, and a caring heart could cross worlds, bridge cultures, and create bonds that could endure anything. The forest of Zarathia had returned to its calm, radiant beauty after the recent danger. Streams flowed gently, creatures wandered safely through the trees, and the soft glow of the bioluminescent plants gave the night a magical light. Ethan and Lyra walked through the familiar paths, feeling a quiet satisfaction. They had survived the threat, protected the forest, and strengthened the trust of Lyra's people. Lyra led Ethan to a high plateau overlooking the glowing rivers and distant mountains. "This place is sacred," she explained. "It is where Zarathians come to reflect, make decisions, and honor what is important to them." Ethan took in the breathtaking view. The colors of the rivers, the forests, and the mountains shifted with the light, painting a scene more beautiful than any he had ever seen. "It's incredible," he whispered. "Every time I think I understand this world, it surprises me again." Lyra turned to him, her silver eyes calm but intense. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and heart. You have proven that you can respect this world and protect it. But there is one question that remains, not from my people, but from my own heart." Ethan's pulse quickened. "What question?" Lyra took a deep breath. "Ethan, you are human, and I am Zarathian. Our worlds are different. Our cultures are different. Yet, I feel drawn to you, and I must know. If I were to ask, what must I do to marry you?" Ethan froze, unsure how to respond. He had not expected such words, spoken with such honesty and emotion. He looked at her, feeling a mix of awe, gratitude, and something deeper he could not yet name. "Lyra, She smiled softly, encouraging him to speak. "You do not need to answer immediately. But know that my question is sincere. It is not just a desire. It is a declaration of intent, something rare in my culture. I trust you, and I wish to be with you." Ethan took her hands in his, feeling the warmth and strength in her touch. "Lyra, I cannot imagine anyone more courageous, wise, or kind than you. You've taught me so much about this world, about patience, and about seeing with my heart. I would be honored to marry you." Lyra's eyes shimmered, reflecting the light of Zarathia's twin moons. "Then it is settled," she said, softly. "But we must also honor the traditions of my people. My elders will need to witness this, and the union must respect both human and Zarathian ways." Ethan nodded. "I understand. I will follow your customs and honor your people. I want this to be right, for all of us." The two of them descended from the plateau, returning to the village where the Zarathians were gathered. The elders watched them approach, curiosity and cautious approval in their expressions. Lyra stepped forward confidently. Elders, I speak not only for myself, but for my heart. I wish to unite my life with Ethan, a human who has shown the virtues we value. I ask your guidance and your blessing. The elders exchanged thoughtful glances. The same elder who had overseen Ethan's trials stepped forward. Lyra has spoken honestly and with respect. Ethan has proven his worth through trials, courage, and compassion. If he accepts the responsibilities of union with a Zarathian, then our guidance is given and our blessing may follow. Ethan bowed respectfully. I accept. I promise to respect Zarathia, its people, and Lyra. I will act with honor, courage, and care. The elders nodded. Then you shall proceed, said another elder, her voice soft but firm. But know this, marriage is not simply a bond of two beings. It is a promise to uphold harmony, understanding, and mutual support. If you can live with these values, then your union will be honored. Lyra and Ethan exchanged a glance, their hearts filled with joy. For a moment, they stood quietly, letting the significance of the moment sink in. This was not just a personal decision. It was a bridge between worlds, a sign that understanding and trust could surpass even the deepest differences. Over the next few days, preparations for the union began. Humans and Zarathians worked together, blending their customs and creating a celebration that honored both cultures. Ethan learned about Zarathian ceremonial practices, from the intricate weaving of symbolic ribbons to the sharing of sacred foods that represented life and unity. Lyra, in turn, listened to Ethan explain human customs, and together they found ways to combine traditions in meaningful ways. One evening, as they walked along a softly glowing river, Ethan turned to Lyra. I never thought I'd find this. I've traveled across the stars, seen countless wonders, but you in this world, it's more than I ever imagined. Lyra smiled, brushing a strand of glowing hair from her face. You have shown that humans can be more than we expected. You care, you understand, and you act with wisdom. That is why my heart chose you. Ethan felt warmth spread through him. And I will continue to learn, Lyra. I want to be the person you can trust, the partner you can rely on, and someone worthy of standing beside you. She reached for his hand. Then we are ready, not just for a ceremony, but for a life together. Our worlds are different, but our hearts, they can meet. The night of the union arrived, and the forest shimmered with the soft glow of thousands of bioluminescent plants. Zarathians and humans gathered together, sharing food, stories, and laughter. The elders stood nearby, offering guidance and blessing, while Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, feeling the weight and wonder of the moment. Lyra spoke first, her voice calm and melodic. I choose you, Ethan, as my partner, my equal and my companion. I promise to respect your world, your heart, and your life. Together, we will face the unknown, protect the balance, and nurture the bond that unites us. Ethan took a deep breath and spoke with sincerity. I choose you, Lyra, as my partner, my guide, and my friend. I promise to honor your world, your people, and your heart. Together, we will face the future, protect what is sacred, and grow stronger as one. The elders nodded, and a quiet, joyful energy filled the air. Around them, the forest seemed to glow brighter as if acknowledging their union. Animals peeked from the trees, streams shimmered in the moonlight, and the gentle hum of life celebrated a moment of harmony that spanned worlds. Ethan looked at Lyra, feeling awe and gratitude. We did it. We're really doing this. Lyra smiled softly. Yes, and it is only the beginning. Our journey together has just started, and the universe has many lessons yet to teach us. But now, we face them as one. They clasped hands, standing together under the twin moons, feeling a bond that was deeper than words. Their differences no longer mattered. What mattered was trust, respect, and the courage to love across worlds. As the night carried on, Ethan and Lyra shared quiet moments walking through the forest and marveling at its wonders. They spoke of dreams, hopes, and the life they wished to build together. Every word, every glance strengthened the connection that had begun with trust and courage and now blossomed into a commitment that would endure. And as the first light of dawn touched the forest, Ethan realized something profound. Love, courage, and understanding were not limited to one world. They were qualities that could travel across stars, bridge cultures, and unite hearts, even those as different as human and Zarathian. For Lyra, it was the same. She had met a human who saw with his heart, acted with courage, and respected life in all forms. Their union was not just a personal choice, but a symbol of hope, showing that differences could be embraced and celebrated. Together they looked toward the horizon, knowing that the future would bring challenges, adventures, and discoveries. But now, they would face it side by side, united in purpose, trust, and love. The morning sun bathed Zarathia in golden light, its rays reflecting off rivers, mountains, and the shimmering forest. Ethan and Lyra stood on a gentle hill overlooking the village, feeling the calm of the world they had worked so hard to protect. The night of their union had passed, leaving a quiet happiness that lingered in the air. Lyra turned to Ethan, her silver eyes reflecting the morning light. Today marks not just our union, but the start of a new chapter. For us, and for the connection between our worlds. Ethan smiled, taking her hand. I feel that too. It's amazing. To think we started as strangers from different worlds, and now we're here, building a life together. They walked back to the village, where the Zarathians had already begun their morning routines. The elders greeted them with quiet nods of respect, while children peeked curiously, fascinated by the human who had proven himself a friend and protector. Ethan waved, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known before. Lyra guided him to the central gathering space, a circular area surrounded by glowing trees and flowing water. The elders want to bless our new beginning, she explained. This ceremony will honor both human and Zarathian traditions, symbolizing harmony, respect, and shared life. Ethan watched as the elders performed the ritual, weaving ribbons of light around a central crystal. Each ribbon represented qualities that they hoped to nurture: trust, courage, compassion, and understanding. Ethan added a ribbon of his own, a human symbol of hope and commitment, intertwining it with Lyra's and the others. The elders chanted softly, their voices blending with the whispers of the forest. Ethan and Lyra stood together, hands joined, feeling the energy of life flowing through the ribbons, connecting them not only to each other, but to every creature, tree, and river of Zarathia. When the ritual concluded, Ethan looked at Lyra. I never thought I'd feel so connected. To a world, to a people, to someone like you. Lyra smiled, her expression soft. And I never thought I would trust a human so completely. You have proven that courage, kindness, and understanding can exist anywhere, even across worlds. The day passed with laughter, storytelling, and sharing of customs. Humans and Zarathians worked side by side, exchanging knowledge and skills. Ethan taught some of the Zarathian children about the stars, spaceships, and human inventions, while Lyra showed him ways to communicate with the forest and understand its delicate balance. As the sun began to set, Ethan and Lyra walked to a quiet glade filled with softly glowing flowers. This is our place, Lyra said, gesturing to a small circle of stones. We will come here whenever we need to reflect, plan, or simply be together." Ethan knelt and picked up a small stone from the circle. "I'll make a promise here," he said, his voice steady. "I promise to protect you, your people, and this world. I promise to learn, to listen, and to grow alongside you, and I promise to face every challenge with you, no matter how big or small." Lyra took his hands and placed them over her heart. "And I promise to walk with you, to share knowledge, joy, and courage. We will face challenges together and celebrate every victory. Our bond is stronger than fear or distance, stronger than differences." They stood together, feeling the quiet power of Zarathia surrounding them. The rivers reflected the colors of the setting sun, the trees whispered softly, and small creatures peeked out, as if celebrating the union of two beings who had crossed worlds to find each other. Night fell, and the twin moons rose, casting silver light over the forest. Ethan and Lyra sat together beneath their sacred tree, feeling the gentle pulse of life around them. The air was cool and fragrant, carrying the sounds of the forest, soft rustling leaves, distant calls of creatures, and the gentle flow of water. Ethan looked at Lyra, his heart full. "I feel like we're just at the beginning. There's so much to explore, so much to learn, and so much to share." Lyra nodded, her eyes bright. "Yes, and we will face it all together. Our worlds, our hearts, and our lives are now connected. This is our new beginning, a life built on trust, respect, and love." Days turned into weeks, and Ethan adapted to life on Zarathia with Lyra by his side. He learned to communicate more deeply with the forest, to understand its subtle messages, and to help maintain its balance. Lyra, in turn, grew fascinated with human creativity, exploring new ideas and ways to blend her world with Ethan's knowledge. Together, they built a home near the sacred plateau, a place where both human and Zarathian customs were honored. They hosted visitors from both worlds, teaching the importance of understanding, compassion, and harmony. Their story spread quietly, inspiring others to see beyond differences and embrace cooperation and trust. One morning, as the twin suns rose over the horizon, Ethan and Lyra stood hand in hand, watching the light dance across the forests. "We've come so far," Ethan said softly. "And yet, I feel like there's still so much ahead." Lyra smiled. "The journey never truly ends. There will always be challenges, discoveries, and choices. But as long as we face them together, we will thrive." Ethan squeezed her hand, gently. "I'm ready for anything with you." Lyra's eyes shone with warmth and determination. "And I with you. Our hearts are aligned, our minds are open, and our spirits are strong. Together, we will protect this world, nurture our bond, and create a future that honors both our worlds." The forest of Zarathia pulsed with life around them. Birds with shimmering feathers flew across the sky, rivers glimmered with the colors of the moons and suns, and plants glowed softly, celebrating the harmony of life. In that moment, Ethan and Lyra felt completely at home, not just in this world, but in each other's hearts. And as the first stars appeared in the sky, they made a silent promise to the universe, to live with courage, kindness, and love, to honor life in all forms, and to face every challenge together. For Ethan, this was more than an adventure. It was a life transformed, a bond forged across stars, and a home found in a world that once seemed so alien. For Lyra, it was the fulfillment of hope, trust, and a heart opened to the possibility that love could transcend differences and unite even the most unlikely beings. Together, under the twin moons and the watchful eyes of Zarathia, Ethan and Lyra began their new life. Their journey was only just beginning, But they knew one truth above all. When hearts are brave, minds are open, and spirits are kind, even the universe itself seems to bend toward harmony. And so, the human and the Zarathian walked forward, side by side, ready to face the future, explore the unknown, and nurture the love that had crossed worlds to find them both.